The scent of antiseptic burns my nostrils as I stare at the ceiling tiles, counting them again and again until the numbers blur together. 36. Always. 36. The same tiles I've been staring at for 3 weeks, ever since the crash that took everything from me. Miss Reynolds? The nurse's voice floats through my consciousness. Your fiancé is here. Fiancé. The word still feels foreign, like a coat that doesn't quite fit. Ryan proposed 2 days after I woke up in this bed, his eyes wet with tears and his hands trembling as he held out the ring. I said yes because, well, what else could I say when your boyfriend of 3 years kneels beside your hospital bed while you're still processing the fact that your parents are dead? Hey, beautiful. Ryan's familiar cologne mingles with the hospital smell as he leans down to kiss my forehead. Mom's here too. She brought some of her famous chicken soup. Linda sweeps in behind him, perfectly coiffed as always, carrying a thermos like it's made of gold. Darling, you look so much better today. Her smile doesn't quite reach her eyes. It never does. I force myself to sit up straighter, ignoring the stabbing pain in my lower back. Thank you, Linda. That's very thoughtful. She bustles around the room, rearranging flowers that don't need rearranging, while Ryan pulls up a chair. His hand finds mine, warm and solid, but something about his touch makes my skin crawl. Maybe it's the way he keeps glancing at his mother, like he's seeking approval. The insurance adjuster called this morning, Linda announces, her back to me as she fiddles with the blinds. Such a tragedy about the brake failure. These things happen so randomly. My throat tightens. Random. Nothing about that night feels random anymore. The more I think about it, the more questions surface. Why were my parents' brake lines cut clean through? Why did the police close the investigation so quickly? The estate lawyer wants to meet next week, Ryan says, squeezing my hand. Mom offered to help with all the paperwork since since I'm broken. That's what he means. The doctors say I might walk again with extensive therapy, but for now I'm trapped in this bed, dependent on others for everything. On Ryan, on Linda. That's not necessary, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. I can handle it. Linda turns, her perfectly painted lips curved in what might be sympathy or satisfaction. I can't tell anymore. Nonsense, dear. You focus on getting better. We'll take care of everything. A knock at the door saves me from responding. It's Nora, my best friend, carrying a laptop and wearing the determined expression I know so well. Sorry to interrupt, she says, not sounding sorry at all. But Caitlin has her physical therapy evaluation in 10 minutes. Linda's smile tightens. We were just leaving anyway. Come on, Ryan. As they gather their things, I catch Nora's eye. She gives me the slightest nod, confirming what we discussed last night. She's found something in my parents' financial records, something that doesn't add up. Ryan kisses me goodbye, his lips lingering longer than necessary. I love you, he whispers. Love you too, I lie, watching him follow his mother out the door. When they're gone, Nora closes the door and pulls out her laptop. You're not going to believe what I found, she says, her voice low and urgent. I look at the thermos of soup Linda left behind, at the engagement ring weighing down my finger, at the get well cards lining my windowsill. Everything looks perfect on the surface, just like Linda's smile. But I'm starting to see the cracks. The wheelchair catches on the threshold of Ryan's house, my new home, supposedly. I grip the armrests, fighting the urge to scream as Linda rushes forward. Oh, let me help you with that, dear. Her manicured hands grip the handles before I can protest. Ryan, darling, this doorway simply won't do. We'll need to make some adjustments. The way she says adjustments makes my skin crawl. Everything about this house screams Linda. From the precisely arranged throw pillows to the family photos where Ryan's smile matches his mother's, practiced and perfect. I can manage, I say, but she's already pushing me into the living room. My wheels leave marks on her pristine carpet, and I feel a small spark of satisfaction. Ryan appears with my bags, hovering uncertainly. Mom, maybe we should let Caitlin settle in first. Nonsense. Family dinner is a tradition. Linda wheels me to the dining table where Tom, Ryan's father, sits reading financial papers. He barely looks up. Welcome home, he mumbles, shuffling his documents into a folder. I catch a glimpse of my father's company letterhead before it disappears. The estate paperwork? I ask, keeping my voice neutral. Tom's eyes flick to Linda. Just reviewing some details. Nothing for you to worry about. Actually, I'd like to... Who's hungry? Linda interrupts, placing a casserole on the table. Ryan, help Caitlin with her plate. I clench my jaw as Ryan cuts my food into bite-sized pieces. 3 weeks ago, I was a successful architect. Now I'm being treated like a child. We've been thinking, Linda says, passing the breadbasket. With your condition, it might be best if we postpone the wedding planning. Focus on your recovery first. My fork freezes halfway to my mouth. My condition? Mother? Ryan warns, but Linda continues. And of course, there's the matter of your parents' estate. Such complex affairs require a clear head. Tom and I are happy to handle everything. I'm perfectly capable. Linda's right. Tom cuts in. The stress wouldn't be good for you. We've already spoken to the lawyers about temporary power of attorney. The room goes silent except for the scraping of forks against plates. I feel Ryan's hand on my knee under the table. Probably meant to be comforting, but it feels like a restraint. My phone buzzes, a text from Nora. Found something. Call me ASAP. Everything okay? Ryan asks, peering at my screen. I lock the phone quickly. Just Nora checking in. Linda's lips thin. That friend of yours always hovering. You need family now, dear. Not distractions. The casserole turns to ash in my mouth. I remember my mother's voice. Trust your instincts, Katie. When something feels wrong, it usually is. I'm tired, I announce. Ryan, could you help me to our room? Once we're alone, Ryan kneels beside my chair. I know Mom can be intense, but she means well. She just wants to help. I study his face. The earnest eyes, the worried crease between his brows. Does he know? Is he part of whatever his parents are planning? Ryan, I start carefully. Don't you think it's strange how quickly the police closed the investigation into my parents' accident? He stands abruptly. Don't start this again. The brakes failed. It was tragic, but accidents happen. Like how my father's company suddenly lost 3 major contracts the week before? What are you implying? His voice hardens, and for a moment he sounds exactly like his father. A knock at the door saves me from answering. Linda pokes her head in, smile fixed in place. Ryan, your father needs help with something in his study. As Ryan leaves, Linda lingers. You know, dear, stress can do terrible things to a person's mind. Perhaps we should schedule an appointment with Dr. Matthews. He's an excellent psychiatrist. The threat in her words is clear as crystal. I force a smile. Thank you, Linda. I'm just tired. She nods, satisfied, and closes the door. I wait until her footsteps fade before pulling out my phone to call Nora. My parents' voices echo in my head. Trust your instincts. And right now, every instinct is screaming that I'm trapped in a house with people who want to destroy me. Game on, Linda. Nora spreads the documents across her kitchen table. Each paper another nail in the coffin of my trust. Bank statements, transfer records, emails, a paper trail of betrayal that makes my hands shake. Look at these dates. She points to a series of transactions. 3 days before your parents' accident, Tom's company started acquiring shares in your father's firm. The day after the funeral, they gained controlling interest. My throat tightens. A hostile takeover? More like vultures circling. Nora pulls up another document. And this, Linda's been corresponding with Dr. Matthews for weeks. They're building a case to question your mental competency. The room spins. I grip my wheelchair's armrests, knuckles white. Ryan must know. Maybe not. A new voice makes us both jump. Marcus stands in Nora's doorway, hands raised apologetically. Sorry, the door was open. Ryan asked me to check on you when you weren't answering his calls. I reach for my phone. 6 missed calls. I'd turned it to silent while digging through evidence of his family's treachery. How much did you hear? I ask. Marcus closes the door, his usually playful expression serious. Enough. And I've suspected something was off for a while. Tom's been bragging at the club about his newest acquisition, your father's company. Why should I trust you? He pulls out his phone, showing us a video. Linda and Tom in their study, unaware they're being recorded. The accident was unfortunate timing. Tom's voice crackles through the speaker. But it simplified things. Once we have control of her assets. We need to be careful, Linda interrupts. That friend of hers is too nosy, and Ryan's getting attached. He actually believes she'll walk again. He'll understand eventually. We're doing this for him too. I feel sick. When did you record this? Last week. I was dropping off some papers for Ryan and heard them talking. Something felt wrong. Marcus runs a hand through his hair. Look, Ryan's been my best friend since we were kids, but what they're doing, it's wrong. A key rattles in Nora's front door. Ryan walks in and the room freezes. There you are. His smile falters as he takes in the scene. The scattered papers, Marcus's presence, my obvious distress. What's going on? Just visiting friends, I say, but my voice shakes. Ryan picks up one of the documents. His face pales. Where did you get these? Does it matter? They're real, aren't they? He sinks into a chair. It's complicated. Dad says your father's company was failing. They're trying to save it. By murdering my parents? The words explode out of me. By having me declared incompetent? What? No, that's not. He sees the video playing on Marcus's phone, his parents' voices filling the silence. Marcus, what the hell? I'm sorry, man, but you needed to know. Ryan's face contorts. You're all conspiring against my family? Caitlin, after everything we've done for you. Done for me? My laugh sounds hysterical. Your parents killed mine. They're trying to steal everything I have left. And you... My voice breaks. You're just standing there, defending them. He reaches for me, but I wheel backward. Katie, please. Don't call me that. Only my parents called me Katie. His phone buzzes. Linda's face appears on the screen. Ryan stares at it, then at me, torn between two loyalties. Answer it, I say coldly. Tell your mother her plan is working perfectly. The grieving, unstable fiancé, spiraling into paranoid delusions. Just what she needs for her case. It's not like that. But he answers the phone anyway. Hi, Mom. Yes, I found her. She's fine. The lie settles between us like a wall. As he walks away to continue the conversation, I look at Nora and Marcus. I need your help, I say quietly. Not just to expose them, but to make them pay. All of them. Nora squeezes my hand. Marcus nods grimly. Outside, Ryan's voice drifts through the window, reassuring his mother that everything's under control. He has no idea how wrong he is. The time for being a victim is over. Linda wanted to declare me unstable? I'll show her exactly how dangerous I can be. The flash drive feels heavy in my palm as Marcus hands it over. We're in my parents' empty house, the one place Linda can't monitor my movements. Tom keeps everything, Marcus says, glancing nervously at the windows. Financial records, emails, even recorded conversations. He's paranoid about being double-crossed. Ironic. I plug the drive into Nora's laptop. How did you get this? Ryan asked me to help organize his father's home office. They trust me. His voice catches. Maybe they shouldn't. Files populate the screen. Hundreds of them. Nora starts sorting through them while I watch the door. Ryan thinks I'm at physical therapy. The lies come easier now, like breathing. Holy shit, Nora whispers. Caitlin, look at this. It's an email chain between Tom and Linda, dated 2 months before the accident. They'd been planning this for weeks. The takeover, the accident, everything. But there's something else. They hired someone, I say, reading further. A private investigator to dig up dirt on my parents. Why would they? There's more. Marcus pulls up another file. Your father wasn't just their competitor. He was investigating them for fraud. These documents prove Tom's company has been embezzling millions. The room tilts. My father knew and was about to expose them. Nora's fingers fly across the keyboard. The accident wasn't just about the takeover. It was about silencing him. A floorboard creaks behind us. We spin around to find Ryan standing in the doorway, face ashen. I followed you, he says quietly. I don't know what I thought. Nobody moves. The laptop screen glows between us, displaying his parents' crimes in stark black and white. Ryan, I start, but he holds up a hand. Is it true? His eyes lock onto Marcus. All of it? Marcus stands slowly. I'm sorry, man, but you need to see this. He pulls up the video of Tom and Linda, but adds another I haven't seen. Tom meeting with someone in a parking garage 3 days before my parents' accident. Ryan watches, his hands curling into fists. When it ends, he looks at me with tears in his eyes. I didn't know. Katie, I swear I didn't know. Don't. The old nickname burns. You suspected something was wrong. You just didn't want to see it. What are you going to do? The question hangs in the air. I wheel myself to the window, looking out at my mother's neglected garden. What would you do if someone murdered your parents and tried to steal everything they built? They're still my family. And what am I? His silence is answer enough. Ryan. Marcus steps forward. Your parents killed 2 people. They're planning to declare Caitlin mentally unfit. They're stealing her company, her inheritance, her life. I can talk to them, Ryan pleads. Make them understand. Understand what? My voice rises. That murder is wrong? That they should feel bad about orphaning their future daughter-in-law? Let me fix this. Like you fixed my wheelchair ramp? Or my physical therapy appointments that keep getting mysteriously canceled? I laugh bitterly. You can't even stand up to your mother about dinner plans. His phone buzzes. Linda, right on cue. Ryan stares at it, then at the damning evidence on the screen. I need time, he whispers. Take all the time you want. I slip off my engagement ring and hold it out. But understand this. I'm going to destroy them, with or without you. He takes the ring, looking lost. What happened to us? Your parents killed us too. They just used different weapons. After he leaves, Nora and Marcus look at me expectantly. The flash drive sits between us, loaded with enough evidence to ruin the people who murdered my parents. We need more, I say, surprising myself. This proves they killed my parents, but I don't want them in jail. I want them to lose everything, just like I did. Marcus nods slowly. I know where to start. Tom's keeping bigger secrets than this. Are you sure about this? Nora asks. Once we start, I touch my empty ring finger, feeling stronger without its weight. They thought I was weak, helpless. It's time to show them how wrong they were. The psychiatric evaluation paperwork sits on Linda's pristine coffee table like a loaded gun. Dr. Matthews adjusts his glasses, pen poised, while Linda hovers nearby, concern etched perfectly on her face. Just routine questions, he says smoothly. Given your recent trauma and emotional state. I grip my wheelchair's armrests, feeling the trap closing. Ryan stands by the window, shoulders tense, while Tom pretends to work on his laptop in the corner. Of course, I say, matching the doctor's tone. Though I'm curious why my medical power of attorney wasn't consulted about this evaluation. Linda's smile flickers. Darling, as your future mother-in-law and current caregiver, my medical power of attorney is Nora. I interrupt. Has been since my parents died. The paperwork was filed last week. The pen freezes mid-stroke. Tom's typing stops. That's impossible, Linda says. The courts granted us temporary... Check again. My phone buzzes. A text from Marcus. Done. Check your email. I open my laptop, turning it toward them. You might want to see this, Dr. Matthews, especially the part about falsifying medical records. Color drains from Tom's face as he reads over the doctor's shoulder. Emails, bank transfers, detailed plans to have me declared incompetent, all courtesy of his own meticulous record keeping. This is absurd, Linda sputters. Ryan, tell her, is it true? Ryan's voice cracks. The accident. Dad, did you really? Everything we did was for this family. Tom snaps. Your father's company was threatening our reputation, our lifestyle. My father, I cut in, was going to expose your fraud. So you had him killed. Both my parents, actually. Quite thorough. Dr. Matthews stands abruptly. I should go. Sit down. My voice carries an authority I didn't know I possessed. You're as complicit as they are. Those falsified evaluations could cost you your license. Linda's mask finally cracks. You ungrateful little... Mother. Ryan steps forward. Stop. You're choosing her? After everything we've sacrificed? Sacrificed? I laugh, the sound sharp enough to make them flinch. Let me tell you about sacrifice. I wheel closer to Linda, watching her back away. While you were planning my parents' murder, my father was working late to save his employees' jobs. My mother was planning my wedding shower. They sacrificed everything for people they loved, while you sacrifice people for things you want. You have no proof, Tom says, but his voice wavers. My laptop chimes again. Actually, I say, the SEC just received quite a detailed report about your company's activities. Marcus was very thorough in gathering evidence. Marcus? Ryan whispers. He helped you? Someone had to. The words hang between us like a verdict. Linda lunges for my laptop, but I'm faster, wheeling backward. She stumbles, catching herself on the coffee table, sending Dr. Matthews' papers flying. It's over, I tell her. The company, the money, your reputation, everything you killed my parents for? It's gone. We can fix this, Tom says desperately. Ryan, tell her we can work something out. But Ryan's looking at his mother, really looking at her, maybe for the first time. You killed her parents. We protected our family, Linda insists. No. Ryan's voice hardens. You destroyed it. Sirens wail in the distance, growing closer. Tom's phone starts ringing, probably his lawyer warning him about the SEC investigation. The police will be here soon, I say, watching their faces crumble. Along with federal agents, I'd start thinking about what you're going to tell them. Linda collapses onto the couch, her perfect facade shattered. Tom stares at his phone like it might save him. Dr. Matthews edges toward the door, but Marcus is there, blocking the exit. Ryan kneels beside my wheelchair. I'm so sorry, he whispers. I should have seen it. I look at him, really look at him, and feel nothing but tired. Yes, you should have. The sirens are right outside now. Linda starts to cry, but her tears don't move me. I think of my mother's garden, of my father's laugh, of all the moments these people stole from me. Caitlin, Ryan pleads, reaching for my hand. I pull away, watching red and blue lights flash across the walls. Some things can't be fixed, Ryan. Some betrayals run too deep. The front door bursts open, and justice finally arrives. The interrogation room feels smaller with each passing hour. Detective Harris slides another photo across the table. My parents' mangled car, twisted metal gleaming under crime scene lights. Miss Reynolds, we need to discuss your accusations against the Winters family. I stare at my reflection in the two-way mirror, wondering who's watching. Ryan? Linda? Tom's expensive lawyers? Everything I told you is documented, I say, but my voice wavers. The evidence Marcus gathered, all the files, recordings, everything, has vanished from my laptop. Even my email accounts are empty. We've spoken with Dr. Matthews, Harris continues. He's quite concerned about your mental state. Says you've been experiencing paranoid delusions. Of course he does. The good doctor probably got a hefty bonus to say that. The door opens. Linda walks in, perfectly composed in her designer suit, followed by her attorney. My stomach turns. Caitlin, sweetheart. Her voice drips with concern. We're all so worried about you. Don't. My wheelchair feels like a cage. Don't pretend you care after what you did. See what I mean? Linda turns to the detective. Ever since the accident, she's been unstable, imagining conspiracies, accusing us of horrible things. Where's Marcus? I demand. He should be here, confirming everything. But he's gone silent, unreachable for days. Marcus had to take an unexpected business trip, Linda says smoothly. Poor thing was so upset about your accusations. The detective shuffles his papers. Miss Reynolds, without concrete evidence. They killed my parents. My fist slams the table. They're trying to steal everything, declare me incompetent. Ask Ryan. He knows. Ryan is devastated. Linda interrupts. His fiancé, making these wild allegations about his family. The door opens again. It's Nora, eyes red from crying. Caitlin, I'm so sorry. They're saying I could be charged with conspiracy if... My last ally, crumbling under pressure. Linda's smile widens slightly. Nobody wants to press charges, her attorney says. The family simply wants Caitlin to get the help she needs. By committing me? The words taste like ash. Like you planned all along? It's for your own good. Linda reaches for my hand. I jerk away so violently my wheelchair hits the wall. You're not well, dear. Let us help you. Detective Harris closes his notebook. Given the circumstances and Dr. Matthews's recommendation, no. I wheel backward, but there's nowhere to go. You can't, this isn't... The facility is very discreet, Linda says. The best care, private rooms. You'll be comfortable while you recover. Recovery. Like my suspicions are an illness to be cured. Like my parents' murders can be erased with therapy and medication. Where's Ryan? My voice sounds small, desperate. I need to talk to Ryan. He agrees this is best, Linda says gently. He's signing the paperwork now. The world tilts sideways. Ryan, my Ryan, signing away my freedom. Choosing them. Again. Two orderlies enter, wearing bland smiles and hospital uniforms. Linda steps back, victorious. This won't last, I tell her, even as they grab my wheelchair. The truth always comes out. She leans close, dropping her voice so only I can hear. Who's going to believe you? The traumatized, unstable girl in the wheelchair? We're your family now, dear. Your only family. I look at Nora, but she won't meet my eyes. The detective studies his papers. The orderlies wait patiently, like this is all normal. All right. You'll see. Linda pats my cheek. This is for the best. As they wheel me out, I catch a glimpse of Ryan in the hallway. He's crying, but he doesn't stop them. Doesn't even look at me. The facility van waits outside, white and sterile and final, like a coffin. Your parents would understand. Linda calls after me. They'd want you to get better. I close my eyes, feeling the last pieces of my life crumble away. They've won. Taken everything. My parents, my freedom, my future. Even my revenge has been turned against me. The van doors close with a soft, definitive click. But in the darkness behind my eyes, a small, hard kernel of hatred begins to grow. They think they've broken me. They think this is the end. They have no idea what I'm capable of. 3 weeks in the facility, and Linda finally visits. She sweeps into the sterile meeting room, immaculate as always, carrying a bouquet like she's visiting a sick friend rather than her prisoner. The roses are wilting in your mother's garden, she says, arranging the flowers in a vase. Such a shame. My fingers twitch on my wheelchair's controls. One push, and I could send her sprawling. But I stay still, remembering Marcus's last message, smuggled in through a sympathetic nurse. Wait for my signal. Ryan misses you, Linda continues. He's been so worried. Stop. My voice is hoarse from disuse. We both know why you're here. She sits, smoothing her skirt. The board meeting is tomorrow. Tom needs your signature on some final documents. To complete the takeover of my father's company? To protect what's left of it. She pulls out a folder. You're not well enough to manage such responsibilities. I laugh, the sound echoing off institutional walls. That's why you had me committed? To force my signature? Oh, darling. Her smile turns predatory. That's just a bonus. The real pleasure was watching you destroy yourself with wild accusations. Even Ryan couldn't deny your instability after that performance. My phone buzzes in my pocket, the one Marcus smuggled in. Linda's eyes narrow. You're not allowed. I hold up the device, showing her the screen. A live stream of Tom's office, where he's meeting with Marcus right now. What is this? Insurance, I say, as Tom's voice fills the room. Never meant for it to go this far. The brake lines were just supposed to scare him. Linda lunges for the phone, but I wheel backward. That's being broadcast to the board members right now, along with proof of the embezzlement, the falsified medical reports, everything. You're lying. Check your phone. She pulls it out, fingers trembling. Her face goes ash white as messages flood in. That's not all, I continue. The police have reopened my parents' case. Turns out Dr. Matthews kept his own insurance. Detailed records of your instructions to falsify my psychiatric evaluation. You stupid girl. She stands, towers over me. You have no idea what you've done. Actually, I do. I wheel toward the door. I've destroyed you, just like you destroyed my family. The only difference is I did it legally. They'll never believe you. You're crazy, remember? About that. I press the call button. The door opens, revealing Detective Harris and 2 officers. My unstable episodes were quite convincing, weren't they? Amazing what a good performance can accomplish when you're playing to an audience. Linda's composure cracks. You planned this? All of it? I learned from the best. I gesture to the officers. She's all yours, Detective. As they read her rights, my phone buzzes again. A text from Ryan. I'm so sorry, I should have believed you. I delete it without responding. Linda stops at the doorway, handcuffs glinting. He really did love you, you know. Ryan. He was the only part of this that wasn't calculated. I know. The truth tastes bitter. That's what makes it worse. Was it worth it? She asks. Destroying our whole family? I think of my parents. Of trust betrayed. Of love twisted into weapons. You destroyed your family the moment you decided murder was an acceptable business strategy. I just exposed the rot. After they lead her away, Marcus appears. Tom confessed everything. The board has voted to return control of the company to you. And Ryan? Waiting outside. He wants to explain. I stare at the wilting roses Linda brought, remembering my mother's garden. Some things, once broken, can't be fixed, but others can grow back stronger. Tell him I'm not accepting visitors. I turn my wheelchair toward the window where sunshine streams in. I have a company to rebuild. Marcus squeezes my shoulder. Your parents would be proud. For the first time since the accident, I feel steady, whole. The wheelchair doesn't feel like a prison anymore, but a throne. Linda wanted to break me. Instead, she taught me how to be unbreakable. The roses in my mother's garden bloom crimson against the morning frost. My wheelchair leaves tracks in the dew as I work, pruning dead leaves, clearing weeds. The doctors say I might walk again someday, but for now, this is enough. Marcus appears at the garden gate, newspaper in hand. The headline screams, Winters found guilty, 20 years for corporate fraud and conspiracy. Thought you'd want to see this, he says, settling onto the stone bench. Tom's confession sealed it. I continue pruning. Linda? 15 years. No chance of parole. The satisfaction I expected doesn't come. Instead, there's a hollow peace, like the quiet after a storm. Ryan called again. Marcus adds carefully. He's still asking. No. The shears snap closed on a withered stem. Some bridges stay burned. Marcus shifts, uncharacteristically nervous. There's something else you should know about how I got involved. I stop working, finally looking at him properly. The morning light catches something in his expression I've never noticed before. I knew your father, he says. He helped me once, years ago, when I was in trouble. Financial trouble. He could have ruined me, but instead, he gave you a second chance. I remember my father's philosophy. Everyone deserves one mistake. Marcus nods. When I saw what Tom and Linda were planning, I couldn't just watch, but I couldn't warn you directly. They were watching too closely. So you played both sides. The pieces click into place. That's how you got access to Tom's files. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you sooner. He stands, hands in pockets. I know trust isn't something you give easily anymore. A bee buzzes past, landing on one of my mother's roses. She always said gardens were like people. Sometimes the ones that survive the harshest winters bloom the brightest. Help me with these beds? I ask, holding out an extra pair of gardening gloves. The winter bulbs need planting. His smile is answer enough. We work in comfortable silence until Nora arrives, carrying coffee and apologies. I should have been stronger, she says. When they threatened me, you came back. I interrupt. That's what matters. She joins us in the dirt, and together we plant new life in old soil. The company is thriving under joint leadership. Nora's financial expertise, Marcus's connections, my father's vision carried forward through my designs. As the morning warms, I wheel to the center of the garden, where a small plaque marks my parents' memory. Not their graves, those are elsewhere, but their legacy. The place where they taught me about growth, resilience, and the patient work of nurturing something beautiful. I have a meeting with the board at 11. Marcus says eventually. Want a ride? Actually, I grip my wheelchair's armrests. I want to try something. Using the garden wall for support, I slowly push myself up. My legs shake, but they hold. One step. Another. The physical therapy is finally paying off. Nora gasps softly. Marcus moves to help, but I wave him back. This is something I need to do alone. 3 steps to the plaque. My knees threaten to buckle, but I stay upright, touching the cool metal surface. The company's safe. I tell my parents' names. Your legacy is protected, and My voice catches. I learned how to be strong, like you taught me. A final rose needs pruning, one my mother planted the week before she died. As I reach for it, my fingers brush something unexpected. A small envelope, weathered but intact, tucked among the thorns. Inside is a letter in my father's handwriting, dated the day before the accident. I don't open it. Not yet. Some truths need time to bloom. Marcus and Nora wait patiently as I make my way back to the wheelchair. They don't mention my tears or the letter clutched in my hand. Ready? Marcus asks. I look at my mother's roses, my father's plaque, the garden that survived winter to bloom again, at the friends who became family when my old one shattered. Yes, I say. I'm ready. The morning sun warms my face as we leave, and somewhere in the distance, a new day begins.